me at least.
Yeah, me too. Maybe we're the only people.
It's us too.
What's up, guys? Are we live? Did we do this correct?
My stream is not.
There should be
yet.
like a 10-second delay. If
10
you were
delay?
here,
No, I want it to be instant. I don't want these delays.
I know.
Oh, there it is. Oh, look at that.
I was gonna say, if you're here, type in chat. Thanks for being here. This is our first YouTube stream, so bear with us. Oh, jeez, sorry. I had the volume like cranked up on my laptop. I gotta put it up on my laptop. But yeah, if you were here, would you do me a favor and just type in chat and say hello, so I know that this is semi-working. Again, this is our very first YouTube stream, so bear with us as we sort through some things. Josh is asking if he can be a mod. Yes, I can put
like
user in timeout. That's what you wanted, right?
That's exactly what I wanted.
Add moderator. How's that? I think it worked.
Cool. I'll wait 10 seconds.
Yeah. Yeah, it looks. I think the quality looks pretty good.
Yeah,
I think it's working.
I love that. I love that overlay.
Thank you. Yeah, I've got one for. I just need I need Johnny to get here so then I can capture each of your cameras. But I've got it all set for you guys. So when we go through our brackets, I'll just kind of flip through. I wanted to have it on my stream deck, but I didn't quite get there. But anyways, if you're just rolling in on YouTube, thanks for being here. Appreciate it. And if you are here, yeah, let me know that you're here. Appreciate it. And then if you would also give the stream a like, that would actually help us out a bunch too. That would help the stream get to some more people potentially. So
all the fun algorithm stuff.
Yes.
And these will automatically be archived, right, into a playlist?
Yes. Yeah. So that's the other thing for those that are jumping on with us right now. If you want to watch these live streams, they will be available on our YouTube channel on a playlist just called Past Live Streams. If you, so if there's anything you missed or you would rather watch a video of the podcast or whatever that is moving forward, yes, that will be available moving forward. And it won't disappear in like 2 weeks like Twitch does, which would be really nice. So, anyways. Hello, Gamer. What's up? Thanks for being here. How are you doing? Man, I feel like there's been so much that's happened in the last like couple days of sports.
Oh, absolutely.
One would think. By the way, Josh is here. Want to hear my bracket prediction? Yeah, I do. Let's hear it.
Yeah.
What do you
Hit me
got?
with it.
I'm trying to think. Here, let me just do this. Will that work? Give me 1 second so I can put both of our cameras up. I'll turn this guy off. And we'll shrink this guy. Just temporarily until Josh gets here. Or until you or Josh. Until Johnny gets here. There we go. I can see both of our cameras. Yeah, one would think that, the release of the March Madness bracket would be enough news for one day. And then Tom Brady's like, psych. And then Major League Baseball is like, psych. So, anyways.
Wait, what happened in MLB today?
There's just a bunch of trades. The Reds are making me
just trades. Okay.
Very sad. Extremely sad.
I did see that everyone, they're entering rebuilding for no real reason.
Oh man, it's brutal. It's brutal. Basically, here we go. Wow, you're giving the whole bracket. I love this.
Oh, the whole thing.
The whole thing. West first round, Gonzaga, good choice. Memphis, UConn, Vermont. I love the Vermont pick. I almost picked Vermont. We'll get into our actual brackets here in a minute. But
I picked Vermont.
It's tempting. Who's Vermont playing? Vermont's playing Arkansas.
Arkansas. That's the thing is I like Arkansas.
Yes, that was my problem too. Davidson, I've got them too. Duke, Baylor, Marquette, St. Mary's, Murray State. I like that. Mm-hmm. Nice. Yeah, just for you guys, now that we're on YouTube, ignore the bottom bar that still has our Twitch information. It's still a work in progress to get everything switched over, but anyways, yeah, if you're here, thanks for being here. Appreciate it. Thanks for liking the stream. Johnny said he's on his way. He's running late. Should have known. Okay. For you guys watching on YouTube, you can. I'm confused how to join on your side. We're still on Discord, right?
So he streams he does the YouTube stream, and then you like somehow pull from his phone.
Yeah.
You ever have a thing where you have so much regret over your generally, but specifically in this case?
It's a very open-ended question.
Because I don't have Arizona in my Final Four, and like they're definitely a big favorite, and I'm looking over my bracket again, and I'm like, why did I do the right thing? And I'm just really hoping for a early round exit from them just to justify my bracket,
Hey,
even though it makes everyone else sad.
What's up, man?
I thought I had to like join.
Oh, sorry. No,
You have to create a unique
minutes,
account.
no.
The last 10 minutes
You're good
I've
now.
been like, is because I'm literally on the stream on YouTube.
Oh, good.
And I'm just
Well, thanks for
how do I get onto your side of it?
Yes,
I'm
the same
sorry.
way. No, you're
I
good.
I misunderstood what switching over to YouTube meant.
No, you're
So,
totally good. Totally good. Hang on, I need to turn this music down so loud. Yeah, give me like a couple minutes just to get some things set up. We're gonna get Johnny's camera all good to go, and we'll get Josh's camera all good to go, and then we'll start the podcast.
amazing.
And yeah, I'm
Is it
checking
cool
out
if I
your
just kind of do
your
this the
brackets
entire
too right
time.
now.
Does that help?
Yeah, that's
the
super
camera?
helpful. That's
what
really
we want?
like
Okay.
really good content. Everyone loves that.
Everyone loves that. It looks really good on stream too.
Yeah.
Aaron, you took what I'm following.
With the
I
Reds.
was gonna talk
Okay,
about
well then
Cheapy
you follow it.
Cheapy
and I'll-
McCheapskate.
Yeah, you follow it too, and we'll all yell about it. How's that sound?
Okay, that sounds good. I think we're due.
You guys can both collaborate.
I don't think we've ever done a collaborative what we're following, and I think this is deserving.
It's time. Yeah.
Honestly, it's
Yeah.
going to be a yelling thing for all of us.
Yeah,
it
Josh.
really
I mean,
will.
hop in. You're welcome.
Join the
welcome
club.
to it. Yes,
Join the club.
absolutely. Welcome to our club. Welcome to our club.
Danielle said that I should just buy the Reds someday, and that she'd make them like a decently nice dinner. And I'm like, at this point, I think I probably could. Like, it's ridiculous.
Honestly, trading for our players for a decently nice dinner would be a better trade than what they're getting right now.
Yeah.
So, they are the worst.
There we go. All right, I think we're all set.
The absolute worst.
Curtis, what's up, man? Thanks for being here. Appreciate it. All right, and then
Curtis.
Logan's got some other picks. He's got Gonzaga doing well, Arizona doing well, Loyola Chicago over Villanova. I like that. Josh's Final
get
Four
it.
is very different to my Final
get
Four.
it.
I get that
My
too.
Final Four is very different from most people's Final Fours because they put time and effort into theirs, and I did mine in under
Which
2
means
minutes.
that yours is going to win, Josh.
Good.
I go-
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations on your success.
I broke the cardinal. We'll talk about it in the podcast, but I did break the cardinal rule of picking Final Fours, which is you got to use more than one. You have to put more than one seed in.
Yeah, you do.
Upsets, round 1. Everything else is chalk.
Yeah.
Honestly, so I mean, I made mine and I tried to put as little like deep thought into it as possible and just kind of pick trends. But we'll talk about that in a sec.
Oh, that's fair.
Rather than like, I tried to like, oh, that game seems sketch. Okay, pick that upset.
Yeah.
Don't think about it too much. Like, so, well, I mean, we'll see.
There is such a thing as too little thoughts with this.
Oh, absolutely. There's also such a thing. There's never such a thing as too much thought, though.
Yeah.
Such as geography based on where mascots are located.
Smart. Curtis says,
Oh, wait,
I think
where
this
the
is
mascots are.
Yeah, true. Curtis says, I think this is the Eli Apple of Ohio State basketball teams. They lose first round, but I still pick them to win. Curtis, I appreciate your loyalty as a
gave
fellow
them
Ohio
one
State
dub.
fans. I did not. I think most Buckeye fans are like absolutely not. But Josh, thank you
No.
and Curtis, thank you.
I
for
had to
having
just
some
one
faith.
dub, just one.
I mean, I hope so.
No. If it was Eli Apple, though, I feel like they'd lose the first round and then win the next 2 and then lose the last round. But you can't do that in this.
Right.
Like,
Not with that attitude.
you'd lose right off the bat, win the next 2 in stunning fashion, and then lose the last one. Oh, Eli, I actually want you back on the Bengals. So come back to us cheap.
Yeah, there's so much news elsewhere, and I know today's mostly just going to be talking about the bracket, but My goodness.
The
there's a lot
NFL
going
can't
on.
let people have one day. One day, dang it.
Yeah.
Listen,
Like the bracket, all we wanted was the bracket to come out yesterday and for that to be the main news. And the NFL's like, no, absolutely not. Under no circumstances can another sport be talked about.
Brady could not stand one more day with his kids.
It's like 6
Okay,
weeks. That was it.
The memes have been
It's
very
really
funny.
good.
Really good. They've been funny.
Logan asked,
So
"What
I
is the
can't-
biggest upset in each of our brackets?" We're going to get to that here in just a minute.
Yeah, I
Great
can't share
question.
that yet.
Yeah.
Can't share it yet.
Oh, and just Josh and Johnny, I think what we'll do is we'll share our final four, but let's wait
Biggest
on our
upset's gonna be
championship
me.
pick until picks of the week. If that sounds
Fair
good
enough.
with you guys.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, very good.
Yep.
Very good.
Huh?
Aaron, in picks of the week, what did we pick last week?
We picked the Big Ten tournament, and spoiler alert, we'll talk about it, but no one got it right.
I
You
was
were-
close, though.
You were the closest.
I thought about it. I thought about them.
Joel said I watched Aaron's video from 2 years ago for help with mine. That's my go-to for help. Dude, I appreciate it.
did.
We're going to kind of recap that a little bit today because I got lazy. Instead of doing my own research, I just kind of paraphrased my video. But yeah, I'm glad you like that. Oddly enough, well, I shouldn't say oddly enough because I guess it kind of makes sense. It's getting a bunch of views now, but tis the season, I guess. So yeah, hopefully that helps. It's kind of funny because it's like advice based on how it normally statistically goes, but obviously, you know, who knows? And especially this year, I think we do have more parity than ever before. But anyways, guys, we should probably start so we can actually talk about all that.
Yeah.
Oh, I should probably.
So we can.
No, we can just stream indefinitely.
I mean, I'm down. Thanks. By the way, thank you all for being here. Really appreciate it. If you have not, please give this stream a like. That actually helps out a bunch. And yeah, we'll get started here. So I am recording. Yeah, I think I'm good. Just want to make sure I'm not picking you guys up at all, but I think I'm good.
I'm good. Let's
Cool.
do it.
I think I'm good.
All right.
Yes.
Sounds good. Welcome to the Fifth and Goal podcast. My name is Aaron. I am joined once again by my good friends Josh and Johnny, and we've got a fun, great episode for you guys today because
Big episode energy today.
big episode of energy because it is March Madness, guys. We have the bracket in front of us. We have filled it out. We have filled out many more than just our own bracket. We've got the fun ones. We've got our serious ones. We've got some advice that, by the way, I encourage you to completely ignore our advice and you'll probably do better. But we've got advice for you. Man, I'm
But
excited.
keep listening.
Yeah, keep listening because we
So
think
listen for the funny part.
Yeah, we think we're funny.
We think we're funny.
Yes. Josh, what's up, man? How was your week?
My week was good. I actually just got back from Austin. So I have all of my fun HEB stuff. If you know, you know. If you don't, come down here. I'll take you to an HEB. We have to go to Austin for it, though. Johnny, you're not gonna like this. But, well, the first part you're gonna love. Went to a Tottenham fan club. Tottenham Hotspurs. Hotspur, sorry. Not the Hotspurs. Although that'd be a great mascot.
Mm-hmm.
But went to a Tottenham Hotspur fan club. They played Man U, and just kind of looking at it, talking to my uncle who's down there. Austin's a really good soccer city, and my hot take that we're just going to start off with, they've sold out all of the Austin FC games to date.
Wow.
My uncle has no trouble selling his
Sold
season
out.
tickets. He has no problem selling his tickets. They sell within 5 minutes if he can't go to a game. And so this is my hot take. If Precourt would have taken the crew from us, #save the crew, it was good. We needed that.
Mm-hmm.
They would have done well. And it makes me sad to admit that, but man, Austin can support a soccer team really well.
It was never about Austin that I had the problem with.
Oh,
It was
yeah.
with Precourt. Also,
no, it was with
sold
Precourt.
out and fully attended are two different things. Everybody does know that truly. Because I
be
saw some
fair.
of those stands during the rough parts of last year. And that's okay. It was their first year. They're not going to be great.
Nah, you got to learn. No, dude, Austin's a crazy city. We went to a minor league hockey game. We went to the Texas Stars, which is the feeder team for the Dallas Stars. This is also just another side thing with what was it? The Coyotes signing a new deal with the Arizona State hockey arena, which is a 5,000 seat capacity. The minor league team in Austin, not even Austin proper, like a 45 minutes north of Austin, 6,600 people went.
Well, yeah,
So
it's kind of a
it's
joke.
it's
So
it's insane. First off, Austin could support any team. Second off, NHL, please take Arizona and put it somewhere else where maybe more than 4,000 fans will go.
Yeah, not great, not great. Johnny,
Not
what's
excellent.
up? How was your week?
pretty good, pretty good. A little bitter about some of the bubble
Yeah,
things
we'll
that
get into that.
happened. Pretty close, pretty close. Still not bad, not bad. Only swapped 2 of them, and the 2 that were swapped were last 4 in and first 4 out. So I'll take it. I'll take it. Not too terrible and borderline. They were all borderline. So, you know, not too bad for an amateur.
Yeah, not bad at all. My week was good as well. Man, this just is a good time of year. I love March Madness. I'm so excited. I'm going to watch the first 4 tomorrow as we're recording on a Monday. And man, what a good time. I think this bracket is going to be absolutely insane. We've obviously March Madness is crazy every year, but there's so much parity in college basketball that I think we are in for a truly wild ride, and we'll get into that. So. Yeah, Johnny, why don't you just kick things off? Let's talk bracketology real quick. We'll give you a couple minutes to complain about teams that you think don't deserve, and I think that we probably agree with you that may not deserve to get in. At the end of the day, and you guys can disagree with this, we're squabbling about like the 40th and 41st best teams. Like if you're Texas A&M, like yeah, I would have liked to see them in personally, but don't lose like 8 games in a row in the middle of the year. Like to a certain point, I don't feel super bad. All that being said.
No.
Johnny, what are your thoughts? What did you see as far as seeding, bracketology, all that stuff?
My main complaint is the same complaint I have every year with the NCAA Tournament Committee, to where I feel like they don't watch the last week of games.
Yep.
I feel like they don't actually pay attention and watch what's happening during the Big Ten tournament and during the ACC tournament. Like, I'm sorry, I would have actually been totally okay if Ohio State was a 9 seed.
Yes.
No problem.
Yes.
I mean, they got buried at the end of the year. That would have been fine. And Iowa still being a 5, while I get it at some level, they won the Big Ten tournament and they're on fire.
Looks good. They passed the eye test.
Yes. Like, and that's a team that we'll go over a little bit to watch for going forward. Them and Virginia Tech. You always have to look at those 2 teams. There's always usually 2 or 3 teams that make a run right through their conference tournament. One of them bombs, the other one keeps it running. So we'll see. And, you know, while we might be squabbling over the very last teams at the end of the bracket, teams like this make a run every year. Usually it's just a small run, a win or 2 extra. They make the Sweet 16, and that's a huge success, really. But then you have a team like UCLA last year who beat Michigan State in overtime. Didn't think they'd do anything.
Yeah.
And they were a shot away from making the NCAA tournament, a miracle shot away from Jalen Suggs. So it matters. It matters. Matchups matter. So I love it. My main beef, though, is I did have Texas A&M in. I did have SMU in. Now, those were my literal last 2 teams in. So, again, I will take that. Not too bad. I did have Indiana and Rutgers in the play-in games. They are. So, okay, that's fine. Did all right. I did have Wyoming as my last team out. And I believe the tournament might have had them as their last team in. So, again, not too bad there. I'll take that. I don't have a problem with Wyoming in. I really struggled with Wyoming and SMU. My bigger beef is with Michigan. And, of course, everybody's going to think I'm biased here. And perhaps I am a little bit. But ultimately, Michigan has, like, some great wins. But at the same time, you have to take into account how many opportunities they get. They get so many opportunities and so few opportunities to have bad losses. Now, yeah, the worst losses of the year were Minnesota and UCF. They're really not awful losses. But, you know, they don't have a lot of opportunities to have bad losses. Almost every game that they play is a somewhat decent win. Quad 2 win almost every time. And Michigan's, I believe, 2-9 against quad 1 teams. Like, I'm sorry, that's not good enough. And at a certain point, I need you to win games. Yeah. And they're 17-14. It's the same reason, like, I love Oklahoma. And Oklahoma can beat anyone in this tournament. They beat Baylor. They beat Texas Tech. They beat Arkansas. Like, They have some great wins, but they're 18 and 15.
Yeah.
And that's just not good enough to me at a certain level. And they have the 8th toughest schedule in the country. But at a certain point, I need you to win games. And so I have a little bit of a beef with that. And I always have a little bit of a heart also for those mid-majors. So I would have liked to see a 23-8 SMU team make the tournament instead. But again, we are squabbling over the bottom of the tournament. But of course, that will still matter, as we'll see later on.
It will. It will. Yeah, I think the biggest shock to me was that Michigan was not even in the play-in game. Like, if they would have made it in the play-in game,
that makes
I would have been
sense.
okay. The fact that they skipped that altogether was crazy. And I'm like, to a certain extent, you watched Indiana beat Michigan, and I know that it's not that game in, and like, you're not just looking at that game. There's more that goes into it, but I agree. And I'm curious if some of these conferences like the SEC, the Big Ten, maybe even the ACC that end either Sunday, like hours before the bracket's released, or very late Saturday, if those are going to start to get pushed back. So even though the committee is saying, yeah, we're definitely watching these games, from an outsider's point of view, you kind of wonder, right? Like, the SEC seemed like it got kind of slanted. Now, maybe that's just because they looked at all the metrics that they look at, and they thought the SEC maybe wasn't as strong. Now, saying that, the SEC does have the most top 6 seeds in this tournament with 6. The Big Ten has the most teams overall with 9. So we'll see what happens. So we will each go through our own brackets, but before we do, I will give a quick 2-minute spiel on how to pick your bracket. Maybe you're listening to this podcast, or maybe you're watching this on YouTube. This is our very first YouTube stream. We are streaming live, and we'd love if you ever join us on YouTube for a live stream. We do that every Monday night at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. We'd love to hang out with you and hear your thoughts, especially this is a great episode for that because we get to hear about who you've picked for upsets and all that stuff. So feel free to join us there. We've also got replays of those live streams available on our YouTube channel. Okay, so here's just the hard, cold facts, numbers, I guess, if you want to call it, as far as like what upsets to pick. And then you can decide what you want to do with this information, right? Like, you could pick, in theory, all the correct numbers and still get it wrong because the wrong teams lose, or the right, you know how this goes. But here's the general principle. Obviously, you want to pick some upsets, but you got to know what upsets you want to pick. Do not pick a 1 versus 16 upset. I know it happened once. That was a fun time when Virginia lost.
It will happen again this year.
Oh, okay. Josh. We'll have to dissect that. But
Josh,
I didn't pick one. It's just going to happen.
It's just going to happen. Okay, maybe it will. 1 seeds are 143-1 against 16 seeds. So do not pick a 16 seed to win. Now, what you do want to pick is a 12/5 seed. That has happened in 31 of the last 36 tournaments. And that happens on average about 35% of the time. So that's a pretty high number. You're going to want a 12/5. An 11 seed beating a 6 seed has similar percentages. Then as you continue to move down, 10/7 and 9/8, those are, quite frankly, just toss-up games. Those are basically 50-50 as far as upsets. Now, we'll get into this, but I think there's going to be far more interest in some 3-14 matchups than 4-13 matchups. I think you're going to see some upsets there. Again, we've got tremendous parity, or at least so it seems, heading into the tournament. So also look at some of those. You've got some really, really good teams seeded at that 13 seed. We'll talk about that in just a minute. But once you've got your upsets in that first round, maybe into the second round, chalk usually prevails, especially in the Elite Eight. I don't think there's been a year in the last 35 years, I believe, where there has not been a 1 seed in the Elite Eight. So at least get 1, probably 2 1 seeds in your Elite Eight, get 1, probably 2 seeds in your Elite Eight. Chalk usually advances. What usually happens is you get some great upsets, and then that chaos kind of settles out as you get into the later rounds, the Sweet 16, the Elite Eight, all that stuff. Now, that being said, you will want to pick 1 double-digit seed to go to the Sweet 16. And why? Well, that's because 34 of the last 35 tournaments, there has been a double-digit seed in the Sweet 16. So you're going to want to pick one. And again, this is where you're going to pick one. That's probably the right thing to do, but you might pick the right one. I hope you do. There's also a chance you pick the wrong one. So you could take all that information I gave you, you could use it, and it might not help. You might lose to the person who's picking their teams based on color. And honestly, that's just kind of the beauty of of March Madness, isn't it? That really that anyone can win. And that's probably why you should join the Fifth and Goal Bracket Challenge. Our ESPN group is live. There is a cash prize for both first, second, and third place. So if you're making a bracket, fill one out on ESPN, search in the groups Fifth and Goal Sports. It'll pop up and enter your group and enter your bracket there for a chance to win. And yeah, so that's kind of the spiel on how to pick your bracket. So guys, let's talk about how we picked our brackets. And Jonny, we'll start with you. What do you got?
Yeah, so I haven't dug deep into it, so this is definitely not finalized, but maybe it should be, because if I change it, I'll probably mess it up and make it worse. I have a few key things if you guys just want to go through some like basic upsets and my final four picks. So I'll start off with my final four picks. My final four picks are Gonzaga, who I actually think is quite vulnerable. So I say all of this with very like loose terms. I just think Gonzaga has the easiest path there, which probably means that they're the most at risk because I'm saying it. So I have Gonzaga, who's a 1, Kentucky, who's a 2, Arizona, a 1, and I have Iowa, a 5 seed, making it to the Final Four. So those are my 4 Final Four teams making the tournament: 2 1s, a 2 seed, and a 5 seed. You want to have some balance there, but at the same time, there's usually 2 1 seeds in that Final Four. So I do encourage you guys in that way. Like, make sure that you don't get too upset happy to where you don't have any top seeds near the finish. As chaotic and as much parity as in college basketball this year, there will still be chalk. Not to be a downer. Some key upsets I have Vermont over Arkansas. That's a 13 over a 4 in the first round. Absolutely have that.
Okay.
I have Alabama losing to Rutgers, assuming Rutgers beats Notre Dame. One of the play-in teams will win a first-round matchup. It will happen. So whether you think that's Rutgers, Notre Dame, or whether you think that's Indiana, Wyoming, one of them will win that game more than likely. So those are 11 versus 6 seeds. It's vulnerable, and sometimes that win can really pick up momentum and give that to those teams. VCU made it all the way to a Final Four from that play-in game. There are a lot of teams that have been able to make runs out of those first 4, which is why it matters and makes it fun. So keep a lookout for that. I have Davidson over Michigan State. That's a 10 over a 7. That's a big upset. I actually also picked Indiana to beat St. Mary's in the first round. So I actually have both of them winning. A few other just key things. I have Houston making a run to the Sweet 16. I have Iowa. I have first off, I'm sorry. I have South Dakota State beating Providence in the first round. 13 seed over a 4. The Jackrabbits are 30-2. Respect the Jackrabbits. They're going to make a run. I wish they didn't have to play Iowa next because I think they'd have a legitimate chance against most other teams. But I do have an all Big Ten finish in the Midwest bracket with Iowa and Wisconsin meeting each other again. So that's one of the things of note. There's some fun matchups. You got the Pac-12 versus SEC champion in the Elite Eight for the South region for me, Arizona and Tennessee. I got some Blue Bloods, UCLA, Kentucky in the East playing each other in that Elite Eight matchup. And I have Duke and Gonzaga in the other Elite Eight matchup in the West. So I'm really excited. I have some real key kind of blue blood matchups there at the end. Clearly, some of those teams will be knocked off before they get there, but I'm kind of rolling with the percentages in that I think I'll get a majority of them there. So we'll see.
Yeah, Logan says that he's got Vermont over Arkansas in his bracket. I was really close to pulling the trigger on that. Jonny, you talked about that South Dakota State Providence matchup, and I think that's going to be one that a lot of people are paying attention to. Providence is a 3-point favorite, which is crazy low for a 4 seed. I believe it actually might be the least point spread for a 4 seed ever in March Madness in the tournament. And that speaks to what you're saying. South Dakota State is a legitimate problem.
Honestly, I'm appreciative that they at least put them at a 13. I thought they might put them at a 14 or 15 even. Just they should be a 12.
Yeah.
But being at 13, they at least gave them a favorable matchup. Providence has played with fire all year. And that is part of the reason for that point spread where Providence just wins close games and close games and close games. which is very helpful to have that. But that also means they don't blow people out. And so by every metric, and I try not to dive into the metrics too much, but this was more when I was filling out bracketology and figuring out where to place Providence. And I had a hard time with that because they have a great record, but just how your winning margin matters. And so I really, really like this veteran South Dakota State team. It's veteran laden. These guys have been here 4, 5, maybe even 6 years at this point.
Yeah.
They're grown men. They're ready to beat down on Providence. I feel bad for Ed Cooley because this is one of his best teams with Providence, and I'd love to see Providence go far. I even think the South Dakota State, this Jackrabbit team might go to the Sweet 16 if they didn't have to run into Iowa in the next round.
Yes.
So unfortunately, that's kind of where you are. I don't expect them to be able to outscore Iowa, but I really, really like this Jackrabbit team.
One more question for you, Jonny. So Iowa is an interesting team, right? They
Yeah.
race through the Big Ten tournament. Their offense is on fire. They're one of the best offenses in the country. They're fun to watch. Jordan Bohannon will probably at some point in this tournament become the all-time leader in three-pointers in Division I, which is crazy. It helps that you've played there 10 years. I could probably do the same thing, but no, I'm totally kidding. But it's interesting. Illinois won the Big Ten tournament and then kind of fell flat in the NCAA tournament. If you look historically, I believe in the last 8 years, Villanova is the only team to win their conference tournament and then win the big dance. Do you have any concerns about Iowa that they're going to run out of steam, even though I know right now it looks like they're playing their best basketball right now?
One thing that I've tried to mold my philosophy in picking teams in the tournament is relooking at matchups and not just picking teams that I think are intrinsically better. When Iowa goes without a center, they're basically playing 2 guards and 3 wings. And they can do that with the Murray brothers and Bohannon and McCaffrey and Toussaint at the point. At that point, you're literally playing almost 4 wings with 1 guard. And it's so, so difficult to be able to switch and rotate when you're playing a traditional lineup or even a small ball lineup. It can be tough. So I just think matchup wise, they're going to be so unique, so difficult to match up on. I think they have the capability of knocking off Kansas in that round. When it comes to the tournament, like I said, usually when you run through the conference and win your conference, there's one of 2 ways. You usually flame out immediately and get upset right off the bat. And Richmond's a tricky first round game. I think it was rough for Iowa to draw Richmond off of that fantastic Davidson win in the Atlantic 10 championship game. Hats off to the Spiders. They did great in that game. I watched that whole thing. It was fantastic. But I'm kind of looking at Iowa and Virginia Tech. Which one of them is going to make a little bit of a run? And a run sometimes can only be to the Sweet 16, and that's fantastic. If Virginia Tech makes the Sweet 16 this year, their season's a massive success. ACC champions, Sweet 16, like fantastic. Great job, guys. Like Iowa has a little bit bigger sight set for this season in my mind. Anything short of an Elite 8 appearance is not necessarily a failure, but a disappointment.
Yep.
So I really, really like this Iowa team. They play enough defense. They played more defense than Purdue, as evidence in the Big Ten title game. And they don't turn it over for their seemingly lack of guard play. All of their wings can handle that ball. It's almost like having NBA type of wings and forwards on that team for Iowa. I really, really like the Hawkeyes. Of course, that probably means they get upset by Richmond in the first round or the Jackrabbits in the second.
That's right.
I really like this Iowa team. I do like Virginia Tech still too, but if I have to pick between the 2 of them, and I actually have Virginia Tech beating Texas in that first round matchup as well. So
Okay.
I'm kind of playing both sides here, but
Nice.
one of them will be right. One of them will be wrong. We'll see which one.
That's right. Well, Josh, as the old adage goes, Texas is never back. Is Texas back on your bracket? Josh, you want to talk a little bit about who you've got going far, your Final Four teams, some upsets?
That's probably my biggest upset is I have Longwood over Tennessee. No, I'm sorry. That's the wrong T. That's the wrong T. Hold on. Hey, stream, you're going to know that. I'm going to pretend like I didn't make that. Yeah, I have Texas just getting out of Virginia Tech, and then I have them immediately losing to Purdue. Texas is not back. Just coming. And here's the thing, and here's how I chose my brackets, and you'll see the the streamers, you'll see my picks, and then you'll hear the pick podcaster in a second. I chose my brackets in under 2 minutes.
That's the way to do
whole
it.
lovely speech that Aaron gave, the video that's on our YouTube channel, that's fantastic, and it's very well researched. I followed none of it.
Good.
I do
Good.
none of the things that Aaron tells me to do.
Good. I encourage people not to.
Ever.
Yeah.
And so I have no double-digit team in my Sweet 16. I have one seed in my Final Four, and I will find out what happens. So some of the biggest upsets I have is I actually have. See, I had one. Oh, here it is. Probably my biggest one is I have Longwood over Tennessee.
I like that.
I picked
my
that.
gosh.
I like that.
Not necessarily because of anything specific, but I just don't trust Tennessee to exist.
You trust Tennessee to Tennessee is what you're telling me.
I trust
They
Tennessee.
just won the
Honestly, I
SEC
trust
title
Tennessee.
game.
Exactly,
sure,
Josh.
yeah, they can do a lot
Exactly,
of
Johnny.
things.
Exactly, Johnny.
That's right where we want them. So,
By the way, first tournament appearance for Longwood. So, man, go big
See,
your first
they're
time,
gonna be
man.
excited. They're gonna want to do it. Exactly. Go
Yep.
all the way.
Lancers. All right.
Yes.
Love it. Love it.
Also, it's a fantastic.
It's a good
name.
logo.
Mm-hmm.
It is a good logo. Another one that I have, another one that I had that was relatively large. I also have Davidson over Michigan State, New Mexico over UConn, but you got to pick a 12-5. I think I have two 12-5s, and then I have two chalk. So we'll have a good time with that.
Beautiful.
I have Akron over UCLA, but that's just because I always pick Ohio teams in the first round. That's my rule. I judge by prejudice exclusively. So I do
That's a
have
good
Colorado
quote.
State over Michigan. And that's pretty much it. My Final Four, out of the West, I have Duke. Out of the East, I have Purdue. Out of the South, I have Illinois. So that's probably another mid upsets. Is I actually have Illinois over Arizona. I have no reason to pick that. I just kind of like Illinois. And again, I will generally pick Big Ten teams as far as I can logically make them go. I'm risking it by not putting Iowa in. But I do have Illinois. And then finally, I have Kansas. So that rounds out my Final Four. Trying to think if there's anything else that's fun. I have Creighton going far just because I love their logo. I love that.
Yes.
I love that Blue Jay. And then I actually have. Oh no, that's my other bracket. Sorry, I have a fun bracket where I have some random teams going real far.
We'll
but,
talk about that in a second. We'll talk
We'll
some
talk about
fun
yeah. My
brackets
serious
here.
bracket does not have that.
Yeah, we'll talk some fun brackets.
So I am full of prejudice and just picked teams. I have Arkansas over Vermont, but again, I like Arkansas. I liked that they beat. I liked that they beat Alabama, right? Yes. No, they beat Auburn.
Yes.
Hey, stream. That's a cool part where you only get to hear that, and we get to edit that out.
We
on
can
the
edit that
podcast.
out afterwards.
Exactly.
That's right. That's
But
right.
yeah.
Very nice.
And other than that, and then I think probably the other upset within Ohio State fans is I actually have Ohio State winning their first game over Loyola Chicago.
There's no way.
And
Big
again,
upset.
it's because listen, that is the upset that is going to happen. But again, my rule is I pick Ohio teams and I pick Big Ten teams at least in the first round. So I have to honor that. It was really funny. ESPN's little bracket predictor said that these could be a sleeper team, Ohio State's. And I'm like, oh, cool. We know what that means.
Because they're asleep?
Because they're actually asleep.
Actually, it's not really their fault. They got
How was
crazy
that,
injuries. I mean, it is a little bit, but injury
It's their
situations have
fault.
not helped them. But yeah, I will go ahead and run through mine. Yeah, I do not have Ohio State winning against Loyola. Unfortunately, I'll just start that right off the top. So I'll start in the West region. I do have Gonzaga winning this region. But I've got some interesting things going on here. I do like New Mexico State, a 12 over a 5 to beat UConn. It's a team. New Mexico State's a team that has been there before. They're certainly capable. I do have Arkansas over Vermont. It's close. I know we've talked about that matchup. I was debating back and forth. But because I have New Mexico State winning that game, I do have Arkansas in the Sweet 16. Moving down the bracket, I've got Davidson over Michigan State. I know that's kind of a trendy pick. I've got Texas Tech beating Alabama. Well, first beating the team that comes out of the play-in game, then beating Alabama, then beating Duke. and then matching up with Gonzaga in the Elite Eight, where Gonzaga does advance. So Gonzaga in my Final Four for the West region. In the East, went a little crazy in the East. I've got Baylor all the way to the Sweet 16, but they run into UCLA, who, Josh, you've got losing in the first round. I have UCLA in my Final Four. I am taking Johnny Juzang with the experience they run last year. They're obviously coming at it a very different seed line than they were last year. They are the 4. I've got them playing Purdue, but it's an interesting journey for Purdue because Purdue is going to beat Yale. They'll beat Texas, who is not back. And then Purdue is going to face Murray State in the Sweet 16. That's right. Murray State is going to beat San Francisco, which, by the way, that is a rough draw for the Racers. They're really good. They're a 7 seed. And then I've got the Racers beating the 2 seed Kentucky, moving to the Sweet 16. Purdue's going to be just too much to handle. Purdue's advancing to the Elite Eight, but it's UCLA in the Final Four from the East region. In my South region, I know, and I'm going to pick this wrong. It's going to be a different 1 seed. I know there's a 1 seed that's going to lose in the Sweet 16 or even the second round, as I have here. Guys, I'm picking Arizona to lose to TCU in the second round. I'm taking the Horned Frogs.
Not a bad pick.
And yeah, I've got the Horned Frogs. They're playing Houston in the Sweet 16. I've got Houston over Illinois. And then getting beat by TCU. I do have Michigan winning their first game. I know we talked that they don't necessarily deserve to get in, but I do think they are a decent team and will at least win 1 game. I do have Loyola Chicago over Ohio State. I've got Villanova, though, beating Loyola Chicago. I've got them beating Tennessee. I've got them beating Houston. And I've got Villanova in my Final Four from the South region. That takes us to the Midwest region. And guys, I don't know about you, but the Midwest region has just given me fits. I have no idea of what to pick here in the Midwest region. And maybe that's other people's experiences too. So I've got Kansas, and spoiler alert, I've got them in the Final Four. But I've got South Dakota State in the Sweet 16. This is one of my double-digit seeds in the Sweet 16. I've got them beating Providence. I've got them beating Iowa, who is Johnny's Final Four team. I've got Iowa State beating LSU, a team that is in some difficulty right now. They just fired their head coach. I've got Iowa State beating Wisconsin, so I've got Iowa State in the Sweet 16. Then USC, a 7 seed, is going to beat Auburn, the 2 seed, and meet up with Iowa State in the Sweet 16. So my Sweet 16 seed lines for the Midwest is Kansas 1, South Dakota State 13, Iowa State 11, and USC at 7. I do this to myself every year. There's got to be one region that has chaos, and I'm sure I'll get it right. There's no chance I get this right. But I know there's going to be some, and there always is, there's going to be one of these regions that just chaos reigns. We'll see if it's this. I've got Kansas over USC in the Elite Eight. And yeah, so those are my Final Four teams. I've got Gonzaga, UCLA, Villanova, and Kansas in my Final Four. And you can hear my my upsets sprinkled in. So yeah, that's my bracket. I don't know what you guys think about that, but anyways, that's who I've got. So we've talked
the Iowa State LSU game might be one of the more intriguing games because it's two of the teams. It might be the 2 teams limping into the tournament the most.
Mm-hmm.
Iowa State ended up on my bubble at the end, and clearly they were. Yeah. They're an 11 seed, and they started off the season so well. And then kind of had a rough patch in the middle, and then they looked like they had completely regrouped, and I believe they lost their last 4 or 5 games. And so they're really struggling. And then LSU with Will Wade being fired. Should have been fired 3 years ago, LSU. But now he's gone. So now you're with an interim coach. So now you're just like Iowa State limping in. LSU kind of in disarray. Who shows up? Those type of games are very interesting to where you almost go more to where those teams are emotionally and mentally and going into those games. I think it's important to remember some of these, like a lot of them are 18, 19-year-old kids. Like, so some of these things are really, really going to affect them. And that's why I had a hard time picking up either of those teams getting past Wisconsin, but I respect the risk there.
We'll see what happens. We've got a good question from our YouTube chat. Logan asks, and Johnny, this is probably directed at you. What is the most underseeded team and the most overseeded team? I would say South Dakota State is the most underseeded team, in my opinion.
Yeah. Let me think. Overseeded team. Let me scroll here real quick. There was definitely one team that I was like, that is incredibly wrong. like the interesting thing was when we got to the end, like what Baylor ended up being one of the 1 seeds here. And like Baylor, as good as they are with their injuries too, though, really weren't deserving of a 1, but nobody seized it.
Yeah.
Kentucky could have been a 1, lost early in the SEC tournament. Auburn could have seized the 1 seed. They lost early. Duke could have seized the 1 seed. They lost early. All of these teams had chances to kind of leap up there. I even think personally Purdue should have had a chance to do that. They didn't. Clearly they didn't, though. They're a 3 seed. I would have had Purdue as a 2. I think the most underseeded team, Aaron, that's a really good pick when it comes to South Dakota State. I think Colorado State at a 6 is a little overrated. That pains me because I love my mid-major teams, but 6 is just a little rich for me there with them. You know what? USC at 7 is also ridiculous. USC shouldn't be all the way down at 7 in my mind. I think that is a little much. They should be up in that 4 or 5 line. I think Ohio State is overseeded at 7. I think they should be at 9.
That was every Buckeye fan's reaction when they saw the selection show. They're like, "Oh my gosh, Ohio State's at a 7. This is great." And then they saw who they were playing, and then it was like, "Oh, okay."
Yes,
Tough.
exactly. So I actually think they did a relatively good job. I always have a few little quarrels with them. I would have loved to see Murray State higher than a 7, but in reality, with their strength of schedule, you just can't put them higher than a 7.
Yeah.
That's brutal for Kentucky, but you just you can't. You can't. They play the 250th toughest strength of schedule. There's nothing you can do with that. I actually probably go back to even Indiana being in a play-in game. I think Indiana could be a 10 seed. Like, and I know that might seem a little like strong, but 12 to a 10 and not playing a play-in game is a huge, huge difference. I'd also say UAB is overseeded at 12. UAB, I'd easily have no problem slotting them down and moving up some of those other mid-major programs as well. I think that might have been a little bit more deserving there. Love the Blazers. You'll hear about my mascot bracket later on. Yeah, otherwise, I really think the tournament committee actually did a pretty good job seeding, though. I know I just tore them apart with like 8 different teams, but
right.
For the most part, most of those seed lines are just 2 or 3 off. I don't think there's anything atrocious in the seed lines. I know that's kind of milk toast for me to say.
No, that's okay.
Most of them are really just a couple seeds off, not anywhere it's like, oh my gosh, they're a 2 and they should be a 6 or 7 or they're an 8. How are they an 8? They should be a 4. I think Iowa also got a little wrecked there. Like I would have swapped Iowa and Wisconsin even, and would have been more okay with that, with Wisconsin being a 5 and Iowa being a 3. But the committee doesn't watch all the way till Sunday, so
it doesn't seem like, or at least they're busy with other things. I will say Wisconsin, for those that have Wisconsin going far, I talked about Colgate last week. Look out for Colgate. And then toothpaste. And then a quick shout out to Wright State for making the NCAA tournament. They do play in one of the play-in games against Bryant, who has the nation's leading scorer. So good luck to them. But good to see Wright State in the tournament this year. So I think that wraps up our serious conversation about the bracket. So we'll take a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to talk about the fun brackets. You know, the one where you coin flip or the one where you have the mascots fight to the death. Yeah, we're going to break a couple of those down when we return. We'll be right back. Logan, thanks for that question. That's a good question.
It is a good question.
Yeah.
Alabama, actually shoot. It's Alabama.
Probably.
Alabama is my biggest beef with the seed lines. They are not deserving of a 6 seed.
Yeah,
Absolutely
I have them
not.
losing right away.
Yes. They're 19 and 13. And I know they have the toughest strength of schedule, but they limp down the finish line too. So I actually had Alabama behind Ohio State even.
Wow.
And you don't have to do that, but they're at least at where Ohio State is. So, which is a 7 seed.
Yeah,
So
right.
Not insane, but I would have had no problem with Alabama being a 9 or 10. So
yeah. What do you guys, for those of you watching on YouTube, let me know what your guys' Final Four teams are. If you have your bracket done, you've got time, obviously. There's no rush, but
no, you should have it done already. Get on
you should have 20 brackets done already. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, if you guys have Final Fours though, let me know. I'd love to hear them. Because I honestly, like, I've been busy. Personally, I've been busy just getting ready for this stream and a couple other things that we've got going on at Fifth and Goal. So I have not really had a ton of time to like look at other people's brackets, which I normally do. Like, I normally like to see, who all the ESPN people are picking. It's just kind of fun, but I am kind of in the dark. So I'm curious what some of these like Final Four teams, like the common, the consistent picks are. So let me know in chat. And again, thank you guys for being here.
Alter my picks and
right. Them. Yeah, it's actually because we want to cheat, and we basically just want to cheat off your homework. So
there it is.
But Josh, I respect the 2-minute drill. I think that's the way to do it. The 2-minute drill, and then don't ever come back to it.
Yes. We'll see.
Yes, and again, if you joined a little not late, I don't want to say that because that makes it sound bad. Like, how dare you join the stream late? You can join whenever. We talked about earlier, make sure you join the Fifth and Goal Bracket Challenge on ESPN. If you didn't see on our Instagram page, we've got a bracket contest there. The group is called Fifth and Goal Sports. So make sure you submit your bracket there. The winning bracket gets $20. I believe second place is $10. Fifth place. Third place is $5. That's what I meant to say. So yeah, make sure you submit the bracket there. Yeah. Yep. All right. Well, I'm good to roll into fun brackets if you guys are. I have not actually made a fun bracket, so I'll just let you guys.
You should do the 2-minute drill.
Honestly, that's pretty much what I did. I did the 2-minute drill with some tweaks. Like I've been going back and forth on a couple of them.
You can do a mascot one pretty quickly. I had to Google a little bit of research, like with Tigers and Panthers.
Right.
Apparently, it's very cut and dry. Very cut and dry.
Yeah.
Panthers are much smaller than Tigers. So
there you go.
Who knew?
I do have one that I can talk. It's not done, but I do it every year. Curtis says Tennessee, Auburn, North Carolina, and Gonzaga. I like the North Carolina pick.
Ooh.
He says no reasons whatsoever, which I absolutely respect.
Amen.
Yeah, absolutely.
North Carolina over Baylor.
I almost picked that.
I get it.
I had that originally. This was like the 2-minute drill with adjustments. I originally had North Carolina over Baylor, and then I was thinking like between Baylor and Arizona, who do I think could go down first? And I picked Arizona, which congrats, Curtis. That means Baylor's going down first, so you're going to be correct.
Curtis is good at this stuff.
Yeah. So I like that.
I actually struggled even though even with North Carolina Marquette, given it's an 8 and 9, of course I struggled with it.
Yeah.
But that's why I always have a tough time picking that 8 or 9 to beat the 1, because 50% of the time I picked the wrong 8 or 9 team to win the first round game.
You just need even if you pick it wrong, you just have to have that 1 seed go down as quick as possible.
Yeah.
That's what ends up happening.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like that Final Four though, Curtis. That's pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
I probably should copy yours, but that's okay. All right. Jonny, do you want to bring us in?
Oh, of course I do.
Cool.
All right. Now we're going to get to the real part of the show.
Yeah, that's
very serious.
Yes.
This is what the show is for.
Yep.
Pre-bracket podcast is all about the fun brackets. And there's nothing like the original fun bracket, which is the mascot brawl bracket. And that is all about which mascot would win in a fight. It is critical.
Yes.
It is the most scientific version of any of these fun brackets. And it requires very detail-oriented research.
Yes.
Usually with a team. You need a whole team of researchers to figure this out at times. So, figuring out life's questions. Like, who wins in a fight? The devil or a titan? I don't know.
Right.
I'm not sure. A hurricane or a tornado? A panther or a tiger? A cowboy or a red raider? A ram or a golden eagle? Life's questions. Very important, very critical to all aspects of life.
Wait, didn't we determine... I might have to go back to our talk last year on this. Didn't we determine Red Rider generally anyway?
Sometimes, Josh. Sometimes. My personal favorite in this year, because they're not always in the tournament. It's not a given. The UAB Blazers. Pirates versus Blazers. I would love to see that in real life. It sounds like a movie. Probably is somewhere. It would be a great film.
Checking Netflix right now.
Yeah.
Yes.
Good
So
idea.
I'll give you just a little lowdown in some of the hot spots here. Dragon does beat Pirate, if any of you needed to know. A little bit of insight, though. The one thing to make sure that we're not a homer. Josh, Aaron, and I created this rule a long time ago for Ohio State, and it's very fair. Ohio State, a Buckeye is a poisonous nut.
Mhm.
Therefore, Ohio State defeats any animal it faces, but loses to every person. So they actually make the Sweet 16 this year because they face a
Hey.
Rambler, which is a wolf,
Yep.
and then they face a Wildcat because, sorry, Delaware Blue Hens, you lose to basically everything. So basically everything.
You lose to everything but
So,
me.
Villanova Wildcats. Wildcats actually do not do very well in a mascot brawl. But Ohio State beats Villanova in that sense too. But they lose to Tennessee, the Volunteers in the Sweet 16. So, but the Tennessees lose to the Dragons in the South final. So very fun there. If we just move on real quickly then to, I did pick Titan over Blue Devil. So we'll see there. I made a risk. And then I had the Spartans actually beating the Titans because, Greek mythology just kind of seemed to make sense in my mind. So Spartans actually defeat the Titans. That probably makes no sense, only to follow up being losing to the Red Raiders because gun and spear. I mean, it's kind of a given. Sorry. We go to the Final Four. I'll kind of speed us up here. We got the Red Raiders, Texas Tech. You usually have a lot of Cowboys and guns in the Final Four in the mascot bracket. Then we got the Wyoming Cowboys. So we got Cowboys against Red Raiders. So we'll see there. And then we have my favorite, and this is truly the title game. It just unfortunately is in the semifinal.
It happens that way sometimes.
It happens in the actual bracket most of the time. We got the Blazers, so a dragon against a hurricane in that second matchup.
Dang.
And that is truly the championship match. I unfortunately did have to go with the Hurricane.
Yes.
As much as I love the Hobbit and a dragon kind of creates some windstorms, it is not the same as a hurricane. I think a dragon would probably lose. I could be wrong.
There's a rain factor in a
And
hurricane
lose
too.
doesn't mean die. I think that a dragon will be strong enough to withstand a hurricane. I don't think that the dragon has any power to eliminate that hurricane from doing whatever it wants to do. And I think that's the key that thankfully, Jonny, you picked up on.
Good point.
And fair enough. I do have Cowboys from Wyoming beating the Texas Tech Red Raiders. I just felt like Cowboys in Wyoming probably are a little more accurate, perhaps. I don't know. Cowboys over Red Raiders. It was a very tight, close matchup. I also just feel like Wyoming's colors match it a little bit better. So Wyoming makes it to the final. Cowboys have no chance against a hurricane. So that's over to begin with.
Yeah.
They would have also lost to a dragon if it makes you feel any better. So I do have the Miami Hurricanes winning. The real
Cowboys
shame.
and Dragons is the sequel that should have been made.
Oh my gosh. The real shame in this whole thing is that Iowa State and Miami have to face each other in the Sweet 16. It's so early.
That's just a lot of natural disaster, man.
Typically, the Cyclones and Hurricanes get to face each other early, very late. This year, way too early. Same region. Oh, one last clarification in the mascot bracket. We do not go off specifically off your mascot. Crimson Tide, you don't get an elephant.
Correct.
It is literally a Crimson Tide. So I apologize, not. Like, have a mascot that actually fits your name. You could be the Alabama Elephants. That would be fine. You don't get to be like. So I actually go Iowa State Cyclones, not a Cardinal, and Miami Hurricanes, not a Duck. So that is a point of clarification.
Good. That's a good point. Yes.
Thank you, Jonny.
Because is it an ibis? Is that how you pronounce the name of the hurricane or Miami Hurricanes?
Is it an ibis?
Is it ibis or ibis?
I think it's ibis.
Yes.
Discuss with your friends. I don't know.
Idris Elba. Oh no.
Discuss in the comments. It boosts engagement.
Yeah, that's right.
No.
Well, thank you, Jonny. That's always a fan favorite. It's always fun to hear. And yes, I can confirm Josh and I were on the judging panel for that earlier today. So we did give our contributions. Josh, did you make a fun bracket or do you have a fun bracket planned?
Yes, I did. I went ahead and made one based off the best team logo.
Ooh.
This is slightly different from mascots. This is slightly different from colors. What I wanted to look at was the graphic design of what ESPN has. 1 second, there's thunder coming. Hey, Storm, I'm recording. Don't. How dare you? I think we're good.
I can't hear it, Josh.
No, I can't. If,
Good.
if it helps.
Yes, I did, Aaron. So I did something a little bit different. I don't think I've done it yet in all the times we've made fun brackets.
Okay.
I'm going off of best team logo. Now, this is not necessarily mascot. This isn't color per se. I've actually really only looked at color a little bit. This is specifically like the actual design of the team logo that ESPN presents for you, and I guess the college presents to the world. And my rule is very simple. If you have just simply the first letter of your college name as your logo, that's just it, and it's a color, cool, you're out.
Yeah.
And so that actually made it very easy. Things like Tennessee, immediately out. Michigan, out. Illinois, then that makes things very complicated for some things because I have Illinois versus Chattanooga, or I have what was the other one that I was really Duke versus like CSU, North Carolina versus Marquette. Like these are tough ones because it's just your name in a color. So all that to say is let's start up here. Things like Norfolk State. That is a fantastic. I love the graphic design of this. I love the color scheme. It's not something you see all the time, and so I think it's very pleasing. So that is an easy dub. Baylor, I appreciate the little bit of the overlap with the B and U, kind of diagonally. That's nothing. That's nothing. I don't care if it's just. And this is going to be one that divides a lot of people. I don't care if it's historic. I don't care if it's tradition. Boring. Please spend time. Most of these schools have a graphic design program. Put them to work. Let them have some fun, please. So all that to say is, and I like some history. I like it when you can integrate your like schools like letters into the mascot itself. So Kansas went pretty far because I love he's wearing a little KU thing.
Mm-hmm.
I will allow that rule to be broken because I am very arbitrary and capricious. But that means that my final four, exactly. That means that my final four is actually Kansas versus Seton Hall, and Norfolk State versus Michigan State.
Yep.
Seton Hall, I love it.
Yeah.
I will say certain things like Mount St. Mary's, or gosh, UCLA Akron took me forever because they're both
I was going to ask you about that. They're both script. They're both
so here's
script.
how I did.
They're literally
here's
the
how I
same
did
logo,
it.
basically.
So here's how I determined that. So UCLA, it is simply their blue. I don't know if it's a proprietary blue. It is just UCLA in script, and a little TM, or a registered, whatever it is. Akron, it's outlined, so it's technically hollow. Or I guess transparent. Emily, are you on this chat? Please tell me what that.
Where's our resident graphic designer? Quick, we need help.
Please tell me what things are. But it's outlined, and so they edged out barely, because theirs is a little bit, just a touch more designy. Not a lot. Like it's nothing. It is nothing, but it is more than the name in blue. And in case of a tiebreaker, I would have gone with my Ohio.
Okay,
again,
nice,
I don't make
nice.
I make the rules on the spot. Things like Murray State versus San Francisco, you just kind of go. Or actually, what was the one that I did pick?
I like Murray State. It's got a little race
I do like
guy.
Murray State, exactly. But what I went for is, in that case, I went with obstructions to the letters itself. How does it work within the understanding of can you still read the letter that's going on? And so,
because I feel like that could be a dangerous game because
you in the shield.
Yeah, you kind of get
it's
either all or nothing, right? It's either like a letter or the mascot just plastered all over a letter.
Right.
So that's challenging.
So Alabama went a little bit farther than they should have because it's Alabama, but they have the whole thing. I actually picked Ohio State over Chicago again because of that evenness factor. You can pretty much make out that O. States, for Loyola Chicago, it's the L, and then there's the mascot like off to the side. It's not very even. It's not very. For me, it's just as unpleasant. Like if I'm trying to compare this, it's a little bit uneven as far as like its weight, and so I'm like, I can't go with that one.
Josh, I feel like the Midwest had to be brutal for you. I feel like the Midwest personally is loaded. Kansas, Creighton is outstanding.
Yeah.
You have an
Creighton
Iowa.
went far.
You
Oh
have
wait,
an
hold on.
Iowa.
Actually,
no,
that's
because
my
it's the
biggest
second
upset.
round.
My
You have
biggest upset is
Iowa
actually
Richmond.
I have
Like
San
Iowa
Diego over Creighton though, and I'm so
Oh,
sorry,
what?
Johnny. And
What?
again, obstruction rule. And San Diego
Oh,
State creatively put
no.
S and D together. I got to give them credit for that.
Oh,
That
They
what
pigs
about
me
did-
Iowa
too.
Richmond?
Iowa
Iowa
went far.
Richmond.
That
Okay.
was more prejudiced. I love Iowa's. So Richmond's great. Richmond, it is from a design standpoint, it's just a spider. It's a spider. You could throw it on the next Marvel Spider-Man installment, and I probably wouldn't be able to tell. Iowa, it is a distinct, and this is where heritage comes into play in a positive. That's why Michigan State went so far into my Final Four. Iowa, this is a logo that has been around, and you know it, you love it. It creates a little bit more. It's different from like a bulldog or something like that. Like this one for me just is classic. I love the flatness of it. I feel like ironically it's a pretty modern logo in that sense. They kind of accidentally made it modern again. And yeah, the tough ones, the easy ones to get out were like Iowa State over LSU, kind of the same rule that I did for Ohio State. Wisconsin over Colgate, because at least they made Wisconsin's W a little curvy. Colgate, it's a C. Great.
Yeah.
Great job, everyone. And then Miami actually went far just because of where it sat in the bracket.
Yeah, that lower end is weak.
That lower end's pretty weak. But again, I have Iowa going far, and I have them just losing to Kansas. So it's tough, but I think that's it. And I have Seton Hall winning everything.
Yeah, I respect
because,
that.
Man,
Respect
it's beautiful. It's
Yep.
beautiful.
The pirate. Nice. The one I have not done it yet, but the one I like to do every year is the famous alumni bracket. So yes, it does require basically a quick Google search of every single team. But from past experience, I can tell you that Michigan normally does really well because James Earl Jones was a graduate of Michigan. If you do not know who James Earl Jones is, he is the voice of Darth Vader and the voice of Mufasa. I'm sorry, it is really hard to compete with both Darth Vader and Mufasa.
And he reads the King James Bible
He does.
on YouTube.
Yes, he does. Yes, he
if
does.
you're interested.
Yes. I can also tell you that USC, just basically half of Hollywood is from USC. So there's just a lot of notable names. But, some of these smaller schools just kind of, they'll jump out and surprise you with someone. Again, I haven't done the research, so I can't really speak to that yet. But I don't know. Maybe we'll do the thing where we Google Live on the podcast. Let's just test Colgate famous alumni. This is a test, and this might backfire.
We love this. They're gonna have absolute
Also,
fans.
one stipulation to this: an athlete does not count because
It's a good
It's
stipulation.
like a doctor dressing up as a doctor. It doesn't count.
correct.
Yeah. Boo.
Yeah, Colgate. No one notable. I should
No
say
one
no
has
one
ever
notable.
gone there.
That's a little harsh.
Wow.
But, they wouldn't win. What about Murray State? Let's try that. Murray State. That might be a better. Yeah. See again. Excuse me. This is why we edit the podcast. Again. Wow. Goodness. Sorry, guys. So Murray State, a great example of that rule, because first thing that pops up on Google when you Google Murray State famous alumni is, of course, John Morant, followed by Isaiah Kanan. So they literally just have athletes at Murray State, which good for them.
You know what?
Yeah.
Excuse me.
No,
And-
Josh, we can't count it. It's a rule.
Yeah.
Wait, it's like a hard rule. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you'd have to find probably like kind of
That's when you go to like here. I'm gonna do the thing where I go to Wikipedia, and usually they have Colgate University. Usually they have a notable alumni.
That's true. That's probably
Sometimes
the
I can
faster way
scan
to
through
do it
like
anyways.
the. Let's see here, notable alumni. Where are you? Here we go. Oh no. Hey, Andy Rooney.
Okay.
I don't.
Andy Rooney was big back in the day.
Cool.
Lots of Charles Evans Hughes, who was the 11th Chief Justice of the United States, 36th Governor of New York,
So not gonna make it
and
far.
the
is what you're
40th.
telling me.
Yes. Let's see. Bob Woodruff. That sounds great. Oh, Ben Cohen, the co-founder of Ben and Jerry's,
okay, now we're talking.
did not graduate. He attended. So he's
Aaron,
on the
that
long
matters,
side.
right?
It
You have
does.
To, you have to graduate.
You have to
to finish it
graduate.
out,
This
yeah.
is the rule. This is the rule. All right. Well, that's mine. I like doing that every year. And then I'll do a coin flip bracket. I'll do who knows what else. So there's some fun brackets for you. When your main bracket inevitably fails, that's a good backup. So, all right. The one thing that we have not talked about in our bracket, and we have held on to this for a specific reason, we have not told you our champion of our bracket yet, and that's because we're saving it for picks of the week, where we make picks every week and we keep a scoreboard to just until the day we die, apparently. And our scoreboard currently reads Jonny in first place by himself, we think for the first time ever, with 31 points. I'm right behind him with 30 points. Josh at 28. So still relatively close, but Jonny, congrats. I think this is the first time you've been there. You've got a chance to extend your lead.
2 weeks in a row.
2 weeks in a row, yep. Because this week we're picking the NCAA Tournament champions, which, again, fully realizing it'll be almost a month until we actually know who wins this tournament, so these points will be on hold for a bit. But I have Gonzaga beating Villanova in the national championship. And before the bracket was announced, I was just in my mind, I had Gonzaga losing in the national title game because unfortunately, that's what they seem to do. They've done that too the last 4 years. But then I thought to myself, you know what? At some point, they're going to pull through. Unlike last year, they do not have the pressure of being undefeated going into the tournament. So that's not there. They're the number one overall seed for the second year in a row. So I am picking the number one overall seed. I think Mark Few is finally going to do it. He's got some obviously great players. So yeah, I'm picking Gonzaga.
I should probably switch over from my fun bracket back to my real bracket. Otherwise, Seton Hall's going away. Look at that. I have Kansas. And that'd be so much fun. I would root for that so hard. But in the official one that counts for getting the points here.
Yes.
I have Kansas over Purdue. This is what happens, kids, when you start kind of picking rounds by rounds, and then you get to your Final Four and you go, oh, shoot, I have to pick a winner. And when you upset Baylor, Gonzaga, and Arizona, you are left with just one number one seed. And you go, well, I guess it's them. So
Amazing.
Kansas, please do something. Thank you.
Amazing.
Oh, my gosh.
Johnny, what do you got?
So, again, I have Gonzaga against Kentucky on one side of the bracket and Arizona against Iowa on the other side. I have Gonzaga beating Kentucky. I do not feel good about Kentucky being a Final Four pick, but I don't feel strong about most of these top seeds this year. But at the same time, I bet there will be more chalk than people expect because there's always more chalk than people think, even despite the parity. Gonzaga is just a better overall all-around team than Kentucky, a much more consistent team. And they have so much size inside, I don't think Kentucky will be able to match. So I got the Zags. They have the experience. They're ready to go. I have Iowa knocking off Arizona in the Final Four. And I think this is a massive, massive upset for Iowa to do that. And I think we have a classic national championship game. I would absolutely love to see small ball Iowa running up and down the court, trying to go at a sprinter's pace against the Zags and their size, against Timmy and all of their bigs. I would absolutely love to see it. I think it would be such a fun national title game in New Orleans. But Aaron, just like you, I do have the Zags winning. I do have Gonzaga winning the national title.
Right.
I really want to pick someone other than that.
Well, yeah, the fact that both of us have picked it, that's,
I know.
I mean, good luck, Gonzaga. We have cursed you.
I really wanted to pick someone different. I don't feel strongly about Gonzaga as my champion, but I do think they have one of the easiest paths to get through their part of the bracket. Their region is pretty weak around them, I feel, and therefore they'll lose in the second round in reality. But I do have Gonzaga going all the way. Maybe they finally finish the job this year. We'll see. I do have the Zags.
All right. Well, there's your picks. Again, as I've said, we encourage you to pick the opposite of what we've done because you will probably have a better chance of success. But you never know. So we'll see. Maybe this will be the year for Gonzaga. All right. Before we go, we're gonna hit our favorite segment, and that's called "What We're Following." And I'll go ahead and start, and I'll make it kind of quick because I'm sure you, the listener, are probably looking at the length of this podcast thinking they've done it again, and you are correct. But lost in all,
do.
not I should say it's not. It's certainly not lost. what's a better phrase? In the midst of all of this tournament talk, we had just a wee bit of news yesterday as we're recording. Some guy named Tom Brady said he's going to come back and play quarterback at the age of 45 in the NFL. So that's something. His retirement lasted all about 45 days. And then he said, you know what? There's some unfinished business, which for the life of me, I don't know what that means. The guy has as many Super Bowls as one could ever want, as many awards, records as one could want.
Well, he has more individual Super Bowls than any one team, but whatever, unfinished business.
Yes, but sure. Yeah. Unfinished business. So on one hand, I was surprised that he's coming back just in terms of how quick the retirement lasted. On the other hand, I'm not shocked because he said for years that he wanted to play until he's 45. And kind of the weird situation with his retirement, the fact that the media kind of released it before Tom Brady said anything. Some of these things looking back now, hindsight, you're like, well, okay, this kind of makes sense. So yeah, he's back. Tampa Bay, they re-signed their center. We'll see what they do. I think that probably changes significantly what they're going to do in the draft. We'll be talking about that here in the next couple weeks. Johnny's got his mock drafts rolling and trying to keep up with all the updates. There was obviously some
week
more
changed a lot.
Yeah, it's going to be version
lot.
1.0 is going to like version 5. So yes, so that was quarterback news. And Josh, your Pittsburgh Steelers had some quarterback news as well.
Yeah, so it turns out Mitch is our guy.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes, he
2-year
is.
So the guy who didn't even start last year, Steelers were like, we want that guy. The guy who, okay, I'm not going to be too angry because most likely, and let me just say the positive things. First off, it's only a 2-year contract. Super low risk. I don't know. I don't think I've seen what the deal is for, but it can't be that much. They can draft like high, or sorry, I guess low. Johnny, what's the one where you draft late? They can draft late a quarterback if they want to develop someone. We were talking a few weeks ago about that Wake Forest guy. If they don't want to go for him, they can go for someone else and just develop. I know that Tomlin wants to move a little bit away from the pocket passer mentality that Ben was really famous for. Not him exclusively, but, in his time. Good thing about that is Trubisky doesn't like passing more than 10 yards. So if they don't want a pocket passer, they got him. Great job, guys. His final starting season, which was in 2020, so he did take a year off of starting, give him some rest. He was 67% for 67% completion rate, 205 yards, 16 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. So it's under. He has fewer interceptions than he has touchdowns, and it's
a good place to start.
It's a place to start.
It's interesting. Hey, we'll see what he looks like on a team not named the Chicago Bears. I would think that would help a little bit.
He's going to be under, hopefully, better coordinators, and I think that's what they're looking at. Is he's going to have hopefully some good weapons, and he's going to have a better coaching team behind him to get him apparently to unlock that final bit of potential. So he did great his first year at the Bears. He trying to remember, he had a specific game where he ended up scoring 5 touchdowns in one half. Absolutely crazy, but
he got the MVP.
Exactly.
True.
Nickelodeon valuable player.
So that's something. That's really something.
Hey, Josh, it's better than Mason Rudolph.
It's better than Mason Rudolph. And we'll see if this was better than Dwayne Haskins.
Yeah. It's a bridge quarterback.
It is.
I don't think the Steelers
it's
believe
a middle
that
ground.
He's the answer. He's the answer for 1 year. It's only a 2-year deal. You're not paying him a lot. And I am more than okay with the Bengals being able to throttle you for a couple years while Mitch keeps you at 8-8. Because 9-8. I'm sorry, because Tomlin doesn't have losing records. Probably 8-1. Let's be real. You'll tie one somehow.
The Lions
for perpetually.
Perpetually.
You will tie.
Not even on the schedule. They will find a way. Darn it.
next 2 years you'll be 8-1. You won't be the worst team in the division, so you'll be fine. And then
We'll be
you'll probably
so mid. We'll never get a draft pick again, and we're gonna be.
you'd
we're
be
gonna
better off
just-
just having a bad year.
I was gonna say we need to. Johnny, can you give me your rundown for next year's quarterback draft? Because I'm ready.
I mean, you could have
for-
Bryce Young,
Yeah.
CJ Stroud.
No, we got to be
like,
bad for that. Obviously, we're going for mid. So give me a nice third round guy.
Jackson Dart.
Perfect.
boom.
Ooh, Dart.
Love
there
it,
it is. We
Aaron.
can sell that.
Perfect.
Franchise tag him. Go for it. Well, to be fair, my team's at least, you know what? And here's the thing, and we'll transition into this, Johnny. At least my team's making moves
There you go. Good,
that will
good
hopefully
segue.
long-term benefit the team in a way that still makes use of, like...
Excuse
cap
me,
space.
sir. The Bengals are spending all their money on the offensive line right now.
Oh, I'm not talking
No,
about
you've missed the
football. I'm
segue
not
here,
talking
Johnny.
about football.
You have missed the segue.
At
Okay,
least-
I got very defensive about the Bengals. They're actually
No, you
spending
guys have been
money.
making some. You guys are making some
Unlike
really good
the
moves.
other team in Cincinnati.
Yeah,
that
Josh threw
won't
an
spend
alley oop,
a
and
dang
Johnny
the Bengals
thing.
aren't
wedged
the
it in
cheap
the
team.
rim.
Well, I just got more updates on who the Bengals are signing. So, I'm sorry.
No,
a little
you're good.
distracted. They
You're
keep
good.
going.
Understandable.
But
for
Mike
once in Browns
Brown-
investing.
thank you.
Mike
I
Brown.
appreciate you and Duke Tobin, sir. I won't say anything for the rest of the year. So thank you for doing what you should and protecting Joe. You know who's not spending money is the Cincinnati Reds, as well as probably other MLB teams. Also, this is something that I've been furious about in Major League Baseball, and part of the reason why I have a hard time watching consistently and supporting the sport. You have cheap owners, as including the Cincinnati Reds, Mr. Cheapy McCheapskate. If you've ever watched SpongeBob, there you go. Like basically Mr. Krabs running the Cincinnati Reds, trying to pinch pennies, trading away every half decent player. Not only the fact that they're trading them away, they're getting no return. They're getting Pittsburgh Pirate trades to the Tampa Bay Rays return on these trades right now. Jesse Winker is a fantastic outfielder who's
All-star.
going to be so good to have, especially with the DH rule now. I mean, my goodness. I mean, he's a good fielder, but you could just throw him on your DH too. He's fantastic. You'd love to have him in that sort of rotation there. I know Suarez has lost a little bit of his luster, but you don't know. He could always bounce back. And they're just not getting any return. They're getting no return. Anyone that they might have to think about paying, they're trading away. Sonny Gray is now gone. He's gone. Be on the lookout. Tyler Molly's probably going to be gone. All of these guys, anyone who they might even have to sniff at paying, they're all going to be gone. Joey Votto's contract probably prevents him from being gone, or he'd be gone too. And that's with him having a good year last year. But it's insane. They paid to compete for 2 years just to have a winning record the last 2 years, still not making the playoffs. I don't count COVID. They expanded the playoffs for that year. You didn't actually make it. And when you made it, you went 16 innings without even scoring a run and you lost 1-0. I don't want to hear it. Sell the team if you're not interested in competing. Sell it. There's plenty of people who would buy the team. You'll get a massive return on your investment right now, especially with the collective bargaining agreement being done. Sell the dang team so that the fans can actually watch a team that cares about winning and can actually go to the ballpark and enjoy without being frustrated that they know their management and ownership don't give a rip. They don't give a rip about the Cincinnati. They don't give a rip about the fans because they know we'll still go and buy hot dogs, even though they don't care. They do not care. Sports is just an investment to them anymore. And they're not willing to even put a competitive team out there. The Reds all of a sudden are probably at the same level as the Pittsburgh Pirates.
Yep.
Give them another week. They'll trade away more pieces for nothing. For nothing. By the end of this, the Reds are going to have Jonathan India and Joey Votto, and that's going to be it.
Yeah. It's Johnny, I echo everything you said. They got a decent bit back in the Sonny Gray trade, and I know there's one more player to be announced with this Mariners trade. That's where Jesse Winker and Eugenio Suarez are getting traded to. But yeah, it's just, yeah, it's brutal. The Reds basically spent 7 years rebuilding for a 2-year window, like you said, 2020, 2021. 0 playoff wins, 1 playoff appearance, only because there was an expanded playoff. And where do you go from here? You're just stuck in this perpetual loop, and I know that's the case with plenty of other franchises. The Reds are certainly not new, but it's frustrating because this is a problem that is simply solved with actually an owner that wants to invest, like you said, Johnny. Not in his own pocketbook.
Near the luxury tax.
Nope.
They're not even close to the luxury
Especially
tax.
with the new rules that are in place now with the CBA. It's insane. Luis Castillo is going to be gone, I'm sure, within the next week. Quite frankly, and this pains me because I love Joey Votto, even though at times his contract has been a little bit much, although certainly last year he was great. In some ways, I hope the Reds trade Joey Votto for his sake. I hope they trade him to, and again, this pains me. I hope they trade him to the Dodgers. I hope they trade him to the Yankees, a team that, the Mets, I don't care. Probably none of those teams I listed actually need a first baseman, so that's not realistic. But my point is, trade him to a team that's actually going to be competitive. Ironically, Jesse Winker and Suarez going to the Mariners, who are actually making moves, Seattle, actually making moves to put a good team on the field. Jesse Winker now goes from this Reds team to a Seattle team that is far more poised for a playoff run. Mm-hmm. And we have expanded playoffs this season. It's crazy. The Reds had 2 all-star outfielders. They're both going to be gone. The Reds haven't even approached Nick Castellanos. And maybe they wouldn't have anyways, because he is going to be asking a lot of money. He deserves that. But they are not, from what I hear, they have not even approached him. There was never a plan.
Their GM told him. The GM told the press, you didn't even try to lie?
Yeah.
I'm not condoning lying, but you just told us. I mean, tell us you don't care about winning.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't even approach him with an offer. There was no reason to blow the team up. It's still, as it was presently constructed, we're talking about, like, Aaron, what was the issue last year? Relief pitching.
Mm-hmm.
Literally, if they have relief pitching last year, they're in the playoffs and have probably the potential with their offense to win a series.
Absolutely.
You're telling me you're one
was an issue in the
away.
Correct, and that was in the middle of the season. You could have solved that. They brought in 2 guys that, like, hey, look, we did something just to appease the fans. That's where you pay. You make moves. You make money moves to get solid relievers in your bullpen.
Send prospects. Do what you have to. Sell the farm to do what you
Windows
need.
close quickly, and the window's closed, and they're blowing it up. And look, I'm not saying blowing it up at this point.
They slammed the door shut and nailed it shut.
Yes, blowing it up is not necessarily the wrong response to where they are, but it's the fact that they've done this to themselves. It's not that their players have gotten too old. If anything, they're getting into their prime. And again, I know that we're not the only. We're speaking of it now, and we're angry about it because we are all Reds fans. But I mean, the Oakland Athletics in a very similar situation, right? Like, they got rid of Matt Olson. They got a little bit of return to Atlanta, where he's headed to first base because Freddie Freeman is not going to be an Atlanta Brave. That's there's a bunch of MLB news. This is happening all at once because obviously Major League Baseball, we didn't say this, but yay, Major League Baseball, you did it. And we've got still a 162 game season. So I'm happy about that. But obviously the Reds are a mess, and we'll continue to probably be sad about that. So anyways, but yeah, Johnny, I echo your thoughts. Been thinking very similarly. It's been overall a good week, but the Reds kind of got me down a little bit because, man, I loved watching Jesse Winker play. I was actually at the game where he hit 3 home runs for the Reds. So some good memories that I won't be forgetting soon, but boy, that's all they are now, memories, because they're going to be bad for a long time, I think, unfortunately. But
you're going to be real bad.
Going to be real bad. Anyways, now that we've really, made the mood sad, I don't really know what to do from here other than say thank you for listening to this episode.
First 4 games.
There you go. Thank you, Johnny.
Tuesday,
that's all
Wednesday.
Yes.
Yep.
If you're in the Dayton area and you can even get a ticket, go. They're awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, the tournament does start tomorrow, not on Thursday, but you have until Thursday afternoon
Correct.
to get your brackets in. So you can wait and see who wins those play-in games. If that determines or edits your bracket, you definitely can do that. Check in. Even those 16 seed matchups are super fun. So make sure that you watch. The crowd should be super fun for the right state.
Yeah,
Bryant game.
that again, it won't ultimately
yeah.
matter, I don't think, but that Wright State Bryant game should actually be really good. You've got a couple really talented scorers going at it, so that should be fun. Yeah. All right. Well, that concludes. Go ahead, Josh. Sorry.
I was just gonna say there's a fun thing that I found. It's not a thing that I can follow, but it is a thing that I can just post for you guys
Okay.
as we leave. This is just something for us to ponder and grow on as we leave. When you bake brownies,
Oh yes, I know where you're going with this.
do you bake multiple brownies or do you bake one brownie
Correct.
and then cut it up?
Correct.
And if that's the case, Johnny, I have to pose this next question. Based on how we've talked about things and definitions, is a brownie technically a casserole?
No,
I saw this
because a
TikTok.
casserole well, it could be a casserole, Josh. It could be.
Looking
I
up
think
the
a
definition
casserole
right now.
needs to have multiple things in it.
Agreed.
So if you made just a plain
Johnny,
brownie,
and I know, Johnny, I know you've made brownies before. There are multiple ingredients in brownies, even if you're not
Well-
adding chocolate chips.
well, I don't think. No, Aaron. I think Aaron might be with me here. If it's just plain brownies, I feel like that's not a casserole.
I feel like
Now
it
you put some-
definitely is.
You
Google
put some
defines
nuts
it
in
as
there.
probably
you
put
some
kind of-
chocolate chips in there. You put like some other things in the brownies. Now I think it's a casserole.
Ooh,
I think
okay,
you could
Johnny.
argue brownie is a bread. You could argue brownie is bread.
No, brownie's definitely bread. It's a sweet bread. It's a quick
Okay.
bread. Yeah,
Sure.
It's bread,
Easy.
not a
Here's the
casserole.
thing.
It's bread.
Casserole comes from the early 18th century from French, casse, spoon-like container, or from the old provincial cassa, from the late Latin, catia, meaning ladle or pan. There could be a lot of things that are actually casseroles.
Oh gosh.
It's not a casserole. It's
Yes.
bread. Brownies are bread.
But I
But
can
Josh,
add,
to
like,
answer your
bread-
first question, it is just one brownie, I think.
That is
you think
100%
brownie.
true.
You are absolutely right.
Yep.
You did. I was a little shook there, but you are absolutely correct. For once, you are correct. It is one singular brownie that you just cut up into slices.
So the proper terminology from here on out, now that you're educated, is instead of "Would you like me to make brownies?" you say, "Would you like me to make a brownie?" That is the
like me to
correct
make a brownie?
terminology. I expect all of us to use that moving forward.
Let me grab my casserole dish,
Correct.
make it in that.
Yes.
False.
You probably do use your.
Pretty
pan.
certain.
Yep.
Bread pan.
I'm sorry.
Okay, get out of here.
Please, I want you to make a brownie and instead of throwing it in the 9x13
That's
like
correct.
a human.
Yeah.
I want you to throw it in a bread pan. And I want. Hey kid, you like only crust? Actually, that'd be fantastic. Actually,
Yeah.
that would be fantastic.
That would be fantastic.
Yeah, Josh
It's
is
all
rethinking
corners.
it again.
That's good.
Oops, all crust. Oh gosh.
All right, time to go make a sourdough brownie, guys.
All right. Cool. Be right back. All right. Well, before I don't know. How do we end every episode like just like this?
What if you just what if you just started fading the music?
The
in,
Reds
and
was
it didn't
just-
even
the
matter.
I
Reds-
should. Who cares?
The Reds.
No one's
ending
listening at this
was
point, anyways.
Too
Hey,
downer.
bye
like,
guys. See ya.
we couldn't end on the Reds. It had to be something better.
That's
than
right.
that.
Yeah. All right. Well, you know what? I'm just going to fade in the music. You hear that? It means it's time for our episode to be over. Follow us on our social media. Make sure you download. No, that's not. I'm going to try that again. All right. You hear the music in the background. We are just going to fade it out. Make sure you follow us on social media. Leave a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify Podcasts. And we'll see you guys next week. We'll have some tournament games under our belt. We'll talk to you then. Oh, gosh.
Just the right amount of unhinged.
Yeah, that's what we go for. YouTube, thanks for hanging with us tonight. It was good to see a lot of you here. Appreciate it. Hope you guys enjoyed. And yeah, we're planning on streaming here from here on out. So hopefully this was a little bit nicer of a platform than Twitch. I know Twitch can be kind of funky. So yeah, this is where we're planning on streaming. So which includes myself and Johnny's draft show that is coming up in like less than 50 days, I think, at this point.
That's crazy.
Which
I'm
is
not ready for
insane.
that.
I'm not either. So, so make sure, yeah, that'll be a big deal. I think we've got some fun ideas. Like, obviously, we're going to be talking about the draft. So if that's your thing, then I'm excited about that. But I want to give away a pizza on stream.
Ooh.
So if you guys have fun ideas that we can do, because it's like a 4-hour stream, right? So you're probably going to want to have some moments here that are not just Johnny and I talking about it. So if you guys have dumb, funny ideas you want to talk about, then let us know. So anyways, yeah, really appreciate you guys being here. Thanks for liking the stream. Yeah, that's a huge help. It was fun talking to you guys. I hope your brackets do well. Again, make sure if you're not already, get in that 5th and Goal Sports bracket pool. Win yourself some money. You got to beat me. I forgot to well, it's fine. It doesn't matter. I won it, the 5th and Goal group last year, so don't let me do it again.
Mm-hmm.
So
all right. He gets super arrogant the day afterwards.
Yeah, then they have to record a podcast, and I'm just like, I won. Yep.
We won't let it happen.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
All right, Aaron, I am going to send you something on TikTok.
Amazing.
That you said I'm going to order someone a pizza on stream. This is from probably even last year, but it was brilliant and it just made me laugh. And it's not going to relate to anything, but it's
Bird.
That's the best kind, Josh. Not related to anything.
Truly.
Yep. All right, and by the way, if you watch the replay of this stream, I appreciate that too. Yeah, and these should all be available on our past live streams playlist on YouTube. So, all right. I think for YouTube, that wraps up. We'll see you guys next week. We're going to have some, a bunch of tournament games to dissect. We'll have the Sweet 16 figured out by the next time we talk to you guys. So, yeah, enjoy that. Enjoy all the games. Hope it's a blast. We'll be tweeting about all this. So make sure you join us there. Join us on Instagram, all the places. You know how it be. So, all right. Appreciate you guys. Thanks for being here. We'll talk to you next week.